food simulator at the 185th Air Refueling Wing helps airmen like Jason practice their flights, all while saving lots of money.
Yes, Bridget, right now the Storm Lake community is coming out to vote again on that school bond that didn't pass in 2018. Now, the new proposed expansion school project is a $15 million project, roughly half the amount it was last year. Now, if it's approved, it will add a new elementary school, fixing an overcrowding issue in the Storm Lake Community School District. Tonight, I did speak with the superintendent, and she tells me a little bit about why this is such an important vote for her. I spoke with her as well as some others in the community. I'll tell you their story and their thoughts on this bond vote and also give you the results of that tonight at 10. But for now, in Storm Lake, Tasia Nevilles, KCAU 9 News.
All right, thank you for that, Tasia.
KCAU 9 reporter Tasia Nevilles joins us live tonight from near Macy. That's where family and friends currently gathering for a vigil. Tasia, what can you tell us about what's happening?
Yes, Tim, like you just said, family members and community members are gathering near the area that Altrid's body was found. Now, I'm going to step out of the way. It's a very emotional and quiet scene right now, but this is a live look at the candlelight vigil just underway at what's known as the South Bridge, where people have gathered to honor Ashley's memory and demand for justice. Now, family members have identified the woman as Ashley Altridge and say her body was found earlier this week in a cornfield. Now, the Omaha tribe saying they send their condolences to Altrid's family in a statement released earlier today.
Summer heat continues to roll in, and more folks are heading to the local pool to try and cool down, putting their trust in the hands of the lifeguard on duty.
But just how prepared are the lifeguards when an emergency happens? The answer in tonight's top story at 5. KCAU 9's Tasia Nevilles joins us live from a local swimming pool where guards had their skills put to the test today. Tasia?
Tim, it is hot out here, but earlier this afternoon, 4 lifeguards at this pool were put unknowingly through a simulation test, testing their awareness of procedures, testing their teamwork communications, as well as testing their awareness. It started with a woman spotted face down in the water at Leif Erickson Pool. Lifeguards quickly jumped in, pulling her to safety. Sioux City EMS arrived a short time later, transferring the woman to paramedics. Now, what the lifeguards didn't know was that the woman was placed there by Sioux City's Parks and Recreation Department. It's a drill the rec department coordinator says keeps the lifeguards sharp.
These are the types of drills that we want to do, and we want people to see that we do them. This is the kind of stuff that saves lives, like going through drills like this. And, you know, they're so important to us. I love doing them. The guards are a little nervous, but they love doing them. They feel more prepared after. It just makes Sioux City a safer place.
After the drill was over, Sioux City EMS held a meeting to discuss the accuracy of the drill. Dozens of people at the pool all watched this procedure happen. Now tonight at 10, I'll share you the lifeguards' perspective during the drill. But for now, reporting live in Sioux City, Tasia Nevilles, KCAU 9 News.
A Siouxland brewery plans to help Nebraska flood victims by serving up a new draft of beer. Our KCAU 9 Tasia Nevilles visited Johnny Bird's brewery to find out what inspired this giving effort.
It's our top story tonight at 10.
For Greg Patek, the owner of Johnny Bird Brewing Company, serving freshly brewed beers is a passion.
So getting to share like a lot of our crazy beers with people and just like, hey, you know, this is what I felt like brewing today, so this is what we made. And then just finding out that people love it. That's probably my favorite thing about the entire industry.
Now he's planning on serving people in a different way that will bring help to people who need it.
The idea kind of sparked with the Nebraska's Craft Brewers Guild. A couple guild members were like, hey, let's do something pretty cool and try to like actually use our power for good.
The Johnny Bird Brewing Company in Wayne, Nebraska partnered with 25 other brewing companies throughout Nebraska to create a special beer that will raise money for flood victims.
So everything was donated to us, so then we took all of those donated materials, made it into a fantastic beer, and then we're ready to share it and hope people enjoy it.
Greg always puts on a good brew. I always look forward to trying the new ones, and yeah, so I think it's gonna be good.
The beer is called the Nebraska Strong Red Ale, and with about 300 gallons of the new beer ready for sale, it could raise up to $5,000. Greg says while his giving method was unconventional, he hopes he inspires others to think outside of the box.
A lot of the relief things that I've seen have been like, hey, help donate this, spend your money here, do this. But this is a super cool effort because, like, really just come drink a beer, and it's for a good cause.
In Wayne, Nebraska, Tasia Nevilles, KCAU 9 News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Rebecca Pryor. Siouxland farmers proving their strength in numbers today after uniting together to help a neighboring farmer. KCAU 9's Tasia Nevilles shares this special moment in our top story.
Be out there by yourself and think about what's going on.
Chris Jacobson gets emotional as he describes his love for farming.
It's just kind of a place to get away from everything else.
This time of year is his favorite. The fall harvest is always a time when he can clear his mind. But this year, shocking news he received from the doctor has given him much to think about and no way to clear it.
Had a full-weight bypass surgery. They found that I had a hole in the heart.
Jacobson had to undergo 3 procedures this past October and now lives with a pacemaker in his heart. Ordered to rest and recover from these surgeries, not only his health was at risk, but his livelihood.
Chris needed help.
That's when the power of friendship stepped in.
So everybody come together and help him.
Dozens of neighboring farmers drove their combines across Siouxland to help collect Jacobson's crops, an act that touched his healing heart.
I said, don't worry about it. They take care of it. And they're doing it today.
They've struggled all year. They've struggled to get crops in. They've struggled to get them out. But when my husband needed help, they're here.
Volunteer farmers covered every inch of the 140-acre farmland, clearing in 5 hours what would have taken Jacobson 5 days to complete.
Oh, it just shows that everybody's still got friends, and friends will help friends when in their time of need.
Jacobson plans to return to his crops next year, but says he will never forget this moment of compassion.
Just thanks for everybody helping me out.
In Anthony, Iowa, Tasia Nevilles, KCAU 9 News.
Good evening, and thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Tim Seaman.
And I'm Bridget Bennett. Police in California say they still aren't sure what may have led a 19-year-old to open fire on a huge festival crowd. But they do know quick action by authorities likely saved lives.
Tonight in Buena Vista County, the gunshots were fake and the event's only a rehearsal as multiple agencies came together to practice how they would respond if similar events were to unfold.
KCAU 9's Tasia Nevilles was there and gives us a look inside this training. It's our top story tonight at 10.
While the emergency responders in Storm Lake knew they were responding to a simulated incident, they all took this drill very seriously, practicing exactly what they do if a mass attack happened in Buena Vista County. Dozens of law enforcement officers and emergency responders took part in a mock active shooter situation at the Storm Lake Nature Center.
It was a simulated environmental terrorist attack on our water plant that was combined with a mass shooting of a group of individuals near the water plant.
This drill included dozens of Buena Vista High School students who acted as victims in the mass shooting, giving emergency crews a more realistic idea of how to respond.
I pretended that I was practically dead because I was unresponsive.
We had to deal with trauma on the scene, and at the same time our medical center was doing a drill also. All the patients were transported there, so they were testing and evaluating their emergency room and their EMS.
Each unit was tested on emergency situations, including search and recovery, dealing with potential hazardous materials and mass casualties.
Anything can happen, so like this could happen, another scenario could happen, it could be worse. They're always prepared, which is good.
We want our community and our region to know that we train hard so that we are prepared for any type of incident that might occur here.
The drill was completed within the hour, testing how quickly and accurately the teams work together, ensuring the community is in safe hands.
It's kind of like a reassurance that they go through these things.
Today worked out perfect. It was flawless.
These safety drills are done once a year in the Storm Lake community. Tasia Nevilles, KCAU 9 News.
New high-tech tools are now being used at Sioux City's 185th Air Refueling Wing. Airmen there now practicing their refueling skills without ever leaving the ground. KCAU 9's Tasia Nevilles gives us a look on how the airmen use that boom simulator as a safe way to practice a risky task.
simulator at the 185th Air Refueling Wing helps airmen like Jason practice their flights, all while saving lots of money.
Stews is a 185th pilot and boom operator, and this technology allows him to stay focused on the task at hand.
So our job is to do the in-flight refueling portion, so jets can take off with the maximum payload, and then we refuel them once they're airborne so they can go on to do their mission.
It's a dangerous job that comes with many risks. That's why Jason spends hours practicing the procedures, not in the air, but on a simulator safely stationed on at the 185th.
So we have a system that we can use on the ground here. It's called a boom operator simulator system, BOSS for short. So we use this when we can do training on any given day without having to go out to a jet.
The $1.2 million system is 3 years old and looks identical to the air boom pod inside the KC-135 refueler. For Jay Doran, a 30-year retired boom operator, it's a reminder how times have changed.
Prior to having a simulator, we had no way to do a lot of our emergency procedures. We had to do them in a tabletop environment where you just sit with the book and talk about your emergencies. Here, we can add the emergencies in.
The BOSS simulator feels so real, it can mimic the noise levels of a flight. And from the outside, an operator can throw curveballs, create thunderstorms, and aggressive turbulence.
It's just like we're flying.
Practice makes perfect, but the device also saves thousands of gallons in gas and allows more access to part-time flyers. In Sioux City, Tasia Nevilles, KCAU 9 News.
Water levels on several swollen Siouxland rivers are receding tonight, and that includes the Missouri River in Sioux City.
But for folks living along the James River in Yankton County, the news comes much too late. Forced from their homes over the weekend, families are now returning to find serious property damage.
KCAU 9's Tasia Nevilles shares one family story in tonight's top story.
The only time we saw water in the yard like this was in the spring, and now.
This is the second time the Winkler family's home of 25 years has been impacted by major flooding from the James River.
It's waist high in the basement, a foot away from the electrical, so we had to get out.
The Winklers say nearly all 4 acres of land was covered in water, damaging cars, tractors, and trailers on the property.
A lot more families were impacted this time. You know, before it was spring flooding, the ground was still frozen, so, you know, a lot of people had in their basement and a little bit in their homes. But I think this is probably a lot more in the homes, all the way up to the ceiling kind of water. So
despite all of the damage in their home, the Winklers know others in Yankton are dealing with worse this week.
I'm so sorry for everybody that lost everything.
There's more people to the east that lost
everything.
A lot worse. They're a lot worse than we had got into.
Some people are still unable to get into their homes to assess the damage until the river level goes down even further.
Some families are able to get, if not into their homes, closer to that. So we expect that to start any time when they'll be able to be released in their home safely.
Everyone affected hoping to get into their homes soon to begin cleanup, the first step on their long road of recovery.
Well, hopefully we get a good handle on it before the snow flies. I mean, to where we can live in it.
In Yankton, South Dakota, Tasia Nevilles, KCAU 9 News.